reason. And when we cross that river, to study war no more, we will sing our song to Jesus, the one whom we adore. I sing because of that. Yeah, I might not be able to see me. His eye is on the sky. And that's the reason why I sing. Glory, hallelujah. You're the reason why. Because I love you, Jesus, I want to say glory. Oh, you're the reason why I sing. Can I say it again? Glory. I give the praises to you. Glory, hallelujah. You're the reason why I sing. You're the reason why I sing. You're my melody in midnight, Jesus. You're the reason why I sing. You're my song and my storm, Jesus. You're the reason why I sing. You're the hymn in my heart, Jesus. You are the reason why I sing. I sing. This is the reason why. You know. Glory. Today, I'm just waiting for my guests to come in. Islam. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, may we all stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer. We're going to turn to the east as going within. We put up 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right, with our heels touching one another. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam, everyone. I want to first rise and give the highest praises to our Father God Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Also, Allah, the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. Islam, I want to rise and give high holy honors to our illustrious and divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who brought us this message of love. I would like to also rise and give honors to all the divine prophets for all the wonderful works that they brought into us. Islam, and I give honors to each and every one of you here on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and all other platforms, YouTube also. Islam. So now we're going to do some house cleaning. We must read the laws and rules so we keep our house in order. Islam. And then I forget my glasses. But I got them. And as we wait for the other people to come in here, I hope you all have been doing good, having a great, strong end, as I like to call it. Yesterday was amazing for the feast and flow. Even for the amount of people that showed up, we really had a great time. It was fun. We were able to just fellowship with one another and really enjoy each other's company. The children had fun. We had fun. It was really cool. So now to our Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Islam. So I'll do the recitation for the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Salvation, Allah, Unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1, the Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs, if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God, Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new time. This is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and become industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam. Now for the additional laws for Moorish Americans by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, before being acted upon by any member. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the support of any group of members. To sacrifice finance that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc. by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their adept meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second case will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3, it is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4, all members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member or any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5, all members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Islam. Act 6, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam, Islam, Islam. Let me send it to you now, because obviously it did not come. Islam, Islam family, I'm so glad you guys are here. We're going to get started in just a minute, and hold on, let me send this. I need to send this link. How has your Saturday been, your Sunday so far? How's everything been for y'all? Has everything been all right? Let me get you. Here it comes. Sending the link now, Sistah Shonda. Today we are talking about utility of understanding. So we're going to come out of chapter 26, which is the holy instructions of unity. And Sistah Shonda is we're going to hear from her today on this on the live stream today. We will be going over that. Let me do it like this, because obviously I'm going to send everybody this one, because I don't know if the one from Facebook is not allowing you to come in through the backstage or what. But we'll see what it's going to do now. Let me see. I'm going to see if it'll let y'all in through this one, through this link. If you're able to come in, just let me know. Islam at all costs. Islam, alhamdulillah. Islam, Sister Cheryl Patrick. Islam for joining us here on TikTok. I trust all is well with you today. Yes, our Moorish kin, Islam, key 20. She said key 20. Islam, out of our 101s. Is that what you mean? 101s. Let's see. Let's go to 20. We have someone over on TikTok that requested something. I'm just waiting for Sistah Shonda. That's it. Waiting for Sistah Shonda to come in. And whoever else wants to come in, please come in. Islam. She said key 20. She wants me to, you want me to come out of the 101, sis? Islam. Key 20. What do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Yes. That's the flag. That's that 5-pointed green star that's in the center of our flag. And it represents the 5 principles that we stand on. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all of us. Islam, all of us, not some of us, all of us that claim to be a part of this. Wait a minute, what's going on? Okay, we had to discard that one. Is anybody coming in? Are you coming in? I can start the chapter now. We'll start the chapter and I'll wait for you to come in. But you have a blessed Sunday too. Is it letting you in? Is it letting you in? Let me know if it's letting you in so I can get you in here. I'm not sure what's going on. We could be having some technical difficulties again. But just let me know if you're able to come in the back. Are you able to come in? I will start with the chapter until we can get you in here. Let me know. Islam to everyone over on TikTok. Islam to my Instagram family and Facebook family and YouTube family. All right, so we're going to start with the chapter until I can get Sistah Shonda in. Not sure what's going on here, but we're going to see what's going on because I was really excited about this demonstration today. So I will come out of our Holy Quran, the Circle 7, the Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 26. Holy Instructions of Unity. The gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah, and He appointed to every one his portion. In what measure seemeth good unto himself? Hath He endowed thee? Here we go. Hath He endowed? It's long. I just started reading the chapter, and then I'm gonna let you come on in. Right? It's long. Hath He endowed thee with wisdom? Hath He enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth? Communicated to the ignorant for their instruction, communicated to the wise for their own improvement. True wisdom is less presuming than folly. The wise man doubteth often and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate and doubteth not. He knoweth all things but his own ignorance. The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience their impertinence and to pity their absurdity. Yet be not puffed up in thy own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. The wise man feeleth his imperfections, and is humbled. He laboreth in vain for his own approbation. But the fool peepeth in the shallow stream of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he seeth at the bottom. He bringeth them up and showeth them as pearls, and with the applause of his brethren delighteth himself. He boasteth of attainments and things that are of no worth. But where it is a shame to be ignorant, there he has no understanding. Even in the path of wisdom, he toileth after folly, and shame and disappointment are the reward of his labor. But the wise man cultivates his mind with knowledge. The improvement of the arts is his delight, and their utility to the public crowneth with honor. Nevertheless, the attainment of virtue he accounted as the highest learning, and the science of happiness is the study of his life. Islam, Islam, Islam.
Islam.
Ooh,
Can you hear me
Sister
clearly?
Shonda, this chapter, Islam, this chapter.
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
I'm
yes,
so grateful
yes.
you're here, giving honors to you. I would like to extend the floor over to you so you can extend honors and we can start from here. Islam.
Yes, Islam. Give an honor to all the great prophets who walked before us. Honor to the Noble Drew Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for leaving us this wonderful manual on how to conduct ourselves and simplifying it like this. Um, I love this chapter, the Holy Instructions for Unity. So when I opened this up and started reading it, I noticed it started off with the gift of understanding. So that was a pause moment for me, like, okay, so unity, understanding. Though understanding is a key component of what we need in order to have this unity. And so I went on to read, and it was some key points here where I had to look up some words. Let me see. I want to go to line 4.
All right.
The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and
Mhm.
to talk too much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is part of wisdom to hear with patience their impertinence and to pity their absurdity.
Mhm.
So I had to look up the word impertinence just to be clear on
Islam.
what that meant. Let me pull that up 1 second.
Yeah,
Technology, I
takes
always
a
want to be
minute.
so impertinence. Impertinence. Behavior that is rude and does not show respect, especially towards someone older or in a higher position than you. Or
Mhm.
the simplified dictionary version is now the lack of respect and rudeness. So when I
Mm.
read that text, it made me think of a Bible scripture that I read before I explained what that meant to me when I read it, and that was in Luke.
Mhm.
Where's my screenshots again?
Luke. Get my Bible. I'm getting my Bible, girl. Let's go biblically and all. Luke. Okay.
Hmm. And then it's also too it's encapsulated in what we done reduced to is calling the golden rule. But let me know when you're ready. Are you ready for me to read here?
Mhm.
From here,
Yes. Uh-huh.
Luke 6:31. And verse 30. I'm going to continue through 33 actually. But it
All right.
says, do to others as you would have them do to you. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? And when I look at that verse 4 in the circle 7, and then I look at that Luke 6,
Mhm.
to me it's speaking to us on how we conduct ourselves when we dealing with the world. It's telling us what to go up. The whole book to me is about the understanding that we need to have when we're engaging with one another. And in
Mhm.
order for us to really grasp the concept of unity, we have to be more understanding because we're repelling people, we're pushing people back, we're chasing people away because we're exalting ourselves because of this level of understanding and level of knowledge that we have. When in totality, this level of understanding and knowledge that we have should have us moving differently because I should be able to identify what's going on with you because we're all one. We're all of Allah. We're all Allah. We're all God. We're all one.
Islam.
So when you're hurting and you're going through something or you're having a reaction to the truth, I should be able to understand, okay, this person just isn't where I'm at right now. So how do I engage with them without hurting them or insulting them? Because what Luke said it in a way to say even the sinner is nice to those who are nice to them or who are kind to them or who claim to love them or who walk the same path that they walk. So
Mhm.
how can we call ourselves the children of Allah the teachers in the world, the leaders in the world, the ones that help raise the vibration of humanity, if those who are on lower vibrations can operate in impertinence, and then our reaction to that is to drop down to their level. When the golden rule, I had found this in a little paraphrase on Google, and it
Mm-hmm.
said what is exhorting us to do is to, when we're engaging with people, to listen, not to react and not to respond, but just listen to understand. And then imagine yourself in that person's shoes, because at some point, at some level, in some manifestation of yourself, you have been that person before. Maybe not to that degree that they are manifesting that level of ignorance, I would call it, but you've been ignorant to something before. And if to be in denial, it is to be in denial of yourself. So now that's a whole nother dangerous territory that we're
Ooh.
dealing with, especially when we're talking about Circle 7 and Noble Drew Ali and Moorish Americans. Like, because to know thyself and to study thyself is what it's all about. And so
Mm-hmm.
after we pause and try to understand why this person is operating in the energy they're operating, or the thought process or whatever, then we choose to engage or disengage. But that's your moment to take action. But that action shouldn't be matching the vibration that they're on. Like I had shared with you the example of a sister of mine going through some foolishness, and I chose to disengage, and then she had this very explosive reaction to that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why didn't I expect that? Like, she was already explosive over something that wasn't really in a for any good. It was nothing good coming from it. And I'm trying to express that to you, and you're angry at me because you don't want to take how I'm advising you in the moment. You want me to be more sympathetic, which I can't join you in this wrong emotion. But what I can do is try to guide you into another direction of seeing it. And once she rejected that, then okay, then another scripture in the Bible would say again, dust my feet off and go on about my way. Not to sit there and engage that energy with her, where now I'm defending my right to disengage from the energy, or I'm defending my right to stand on my belief system. And we don't really have to do that, because in my centeredness, in the decision I made not to engage in the lower vibration, that I already expressed who I am and the virtue of what I stand for. But it's disturbing to the witness, because now I gave her the duality of me. And we all have the duality, but the face that I needed her to see was the face of Allah. I didn't need her to see my shadow side at that moment. She needed to see me operate in my higher self, so that she could understand that I'm serious about these principles I'm standing on, and let that bear witness to her. Why I think oftentimes we try to let our aggression or our intellect or words of wisdom that people don't even understand at the time be the way that we chastise them,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes very rude and aggressive ways. And then it's misleading to people who are watching us try to build a community, because it's like, why should I join them? Because they beefing with one another the same way they do in the church. They're having the same reactions to people the same way they do in my family, my birth family. So it's like, what is attractive about me if I'm gonna make somebody feel the same way that the distorted world does?
Ooh, come on now. That's a word, right? So what makes me so special? You're right. Ooh, you pointed on so many so many good points. I want to go to 35 in Luke
Let's go.
6:15, where it says, "But love your enemies and
Mm,
do good and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your
mm,
reward shall be great, and you shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil."
mm, mm, mm. Oh, we don't like it when, ooh, goodness. Now, ooh, that was good to go on down to there. That gave me chills. Because see, we don't like when it's when these um Holy Proclamation start telling us stuff like that. Like what? Like so. Even
Yes,
the
but
Creator, the Great One, loves the good and the evil. So,
Islam,
mm.
Islam, because even in our Holy Quran, when he talks about man will have to face all his foes, like you know,
Mm.
the foe that seeks to do you harm, the stranger at the gate, like all of these things, you still must, love them, even though, because we're gonna fight many foes. Sometimes our foes could be our partners, our parents, our siblings, family. We don't know. We're fighting foes daily, but we're still supposed to, like you just said, show up in love, and that the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah. So understanding our people and where they're at, because you're right, some people, they're just not at a certain space, and we can't get frustrated with them because they're not there. It can become frustrating because I have been one, just like
Mm.
you just said. I've been one to be that way. And it can become frustrating, especially when it's your family, because you want
Yeah.
them to get it. But it's like,
Yes.
if they're not there, you can't be mad at them for that. And that's why it's important for us to move in love and understanding what the treasures of Allah really are about.
Yes. Yes. And I think it's we're human, and we're gonna have these experiences where it is gonna be irritating, and so it's not like pretending like that vexation isn't there, but exercising our ability to deal with it in better ways than just being so reactionary, or especially to be because what was it was hold on, let me find it. um it's the pride that we have to dig up out of ourselves, because now sometimes people come at it some type of way where it really does need to be handled just flat out. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, a lot of times, like, this is one thing I learned working in transportation.
Uh-huh.
I got my first job in transportation last year, and I wasn't even a person that really cared much for driving that much. It was actually an opportunistic job. And so I'm driving on the road, and what I really observed is most car accidents happen because the person that's in the right refuses to yield. You will see somebody that is completely out of pocket
Mm.
for doing what they are doing. And because you know that you're really in the right, you won't ease up and let them do whatever it is they gonna do. That's how come I've never had, because I premeditate what you about to do. Once I see the pattern of your driving, oh, I'm gonna let you have that. Because I got a job, I got my safety on the line. I'm transporting people. I got
Mm.
their safety on the line. I got a job on the line. So go ahead and just zigzag, do your figure eight through traffic. Um, but I think we operate like that sometimes in life. Like, I know that I'm right, and I know, and I'm not right because I'm trying to be the upright person, but sometimes the truth is the truth. And then we'll get so puffed up with what we know that it goes beyond us now defending the truth, that now we're trying to push a understanding on somebody they haven't had the experience to get yet. That's why I said it. It says, try to see yourself as them, and if you can remember the time when you didn't understand whatever this truth is, or maybe you did understand it, because sometimes that's how you can even see the arrogant spirit in somebody. Like, okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're doing, and then you still know how to move accordingly with that spirit versus just lashing out. But it says, he that I'm sorry, this is 7. I'm back in the circle 7.
All right. On Unity.
22 in unity, yes.
Okay.
Because it teeters on almost doing this, and especially in positions of leadership.
Uh-huh.
He that boasteth of a set of attainments and things. No, 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 that ain't the one I was looking for. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let me go up to 6. The wise man feeleth his imperfections. Yeah, the wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humble. To me, that's that seeing that person in yourself, where that's how I'm able to see you, because I know that I'm imperfect too. I'm just working on
Wow.
myself.
Yes,
And
wow.
so that humbles me. He laboreth in vain for his own approbation.
Probation.
But the fool peepeth in the shadow stream of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he seeth at the bottom. And he bringeth them up and shows them as pearls, and with the applause of his brethren is delighted in himself. So um when I read that, it's beautiful and perfect just the way that it is. But it's like, when we are presenting these truths to people, are we doing it so that the people that already know the truth can be proud of us and they can cheer us on? Or are we presenting it in a way that it can really edify the person that we're presenting it to? Because our brothers and sisters can sometimes be cheering us on our folly, because if we're not humble, we won't be able to see the imperfections in ourselves, because he started out saying the wise man feels his imperfections and is humble. So where is the aggression and the anger and the frustration really coming from? We really got to question that when we feel in that way.
Oh, girl, come now, come now. Islam. Oh my goodness. Oh,
That's Islam, sis.
that's heavy. Woo, you right. Because let me say this. So, someone I've been knowing for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They show back up and they're trying to tell me. It's so funny you say this because they boast of superior understanding,
Mm-hmm.
right? But constantly telling me what what I don't know, and that he gonna take me away from my Islam.
Oh,
Girl, that was about to be a fight. Hold up, hold
whew.
up.
This is, yeah.
It says that, yeah, because I'm the chosen one. You don't understand that I am, and I came to take you to a higher. No, you didn't.
That's
No,
that weird understanding these brothers be
that
trying to
weird understanding. Like,
get.
no, you did not. See, you're not humble. You telling me how humble you are, yet you're not at the same
Mm-hmm.
time. And when I looked at these pebbles, even
Mm,
when I constantly read this, and it's pleased with the pebbles which you see it at the bottom. Man, I've been a prideful person like that before. Oh, look at me. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I've been in the same room as this person. I've done this. And so I had to learn that imperfection. Like you said, that's an imperfection, girl. You trying to boast on some stuff that really ain't even you. You just boasting about some things that can go away. Eventually will fade away.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to
But
really. Yeah.
when I hear it now, it's just like, dang, really? So you brought that up to show me what? Oh, look at me, look at me. Okay, and what does that do? So he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to bust my, like, snatch me down once again, pull me straight off this ladder that
Mm-hmm.
I'm climbing. Like, come on back down here. Nah,
Mm-hmm.
see, I understand what Satan's job is, to go to and fro to see who
Yep.
he may devour, but that's still Satan within me, allowing it to happen also.
Right,
Right?
right. That's where the greatest test is at.
Yeah.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yes, yes. So on 7, when it says he boasteth of attainments and things that are of no worth, but where it is a shame to be ignorant, he has no understanding. I think
Mm-hmm.
that goes on a lot too.
Yes.
And I've been there before. Like I said, I read these lessons and I can say, "Oh, I've been there before." Yes, I've been. And I can say
Yeah.
I've been that, like, in my young years when my mom was trying to tell me things. Oh, she don't know nothing. You know how children now, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what I'm going through. You ain't never been this age. So, that part, I could even look at that from being young and being ignorant, having no understanding when my mom's trying to be of assistance and teaching me things, but I don't want to hear it.
Yes, yes, yes. And them old lessons be popping up as we get older too. Like, oh, okay. My grandma used to sound crazy with some of the country stuff she used to be saying. Now I'd be like, mm-mm-mm.
So when you were talking about understanding, I wanted to go over to chapter 7,
Okay.
the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. And I want to go to, I'm going to start at, I want to start at 14. Again, Lamas asked, "What do you say of power?" And Jesus said, "It is a manifest. It is the result of force. It is but not. It is illusion, nothing more. Force changes not, but power changes as the ethers change. Force is the will of Allah and is omnipotent, and power is that will and manifest, directed by the breath. There is power in the winds, a power in the waves, a power in the lightning strokes, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. The ethers cause these powers to be, and thought, Elohim, of angel man, or other thinking things directs the force. When it has done its work, the power is no more. Again, Lamas asks of understanding, "What have you to say?" And Jesus said, "It is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the ot and of the not, of falsehood and of truth. It is the knowledge of the lower self and the sensing of the powers of man himself." He even gives us a key on understanding. But
Yes.
like you were just saying in the holy instructions of unity, like the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah. And he appointed to everyone his portion. In what measure seemeth good unto himself. So he gives each one of us a portion. We don't have all the answers. So even when our people, we see people, no matter where they're coming from, nobody holds all the answers. Nobody holds all the truth. It takes each one of us to come in with a portion of this from what I see it's saying to me. Now, maybe that's not what it's saying to other people. But
No, definitely.
is it saying that, Sister Shonda, with Islam?
Yes, it's saying that. Yes,
Mm.
yes, yes. It's,
So when, go ahead. I'm
no, no, I'm sorry. I just said I didn't mean to do that. Go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good. So this understanding is something.
Mm-hmm.
It's understanding. It makes me want to dig deeper into understanding, into really so I'm not I because I'm not, some things I'm not sure that I'm understanding them. And what gets me is even those that may have the knowledge of the understanding, when you may not know what that is, or seems like you still get beat down for it. Like you said, it's like a runaway, a push away to not want to even continue forward.
Mm-hmm. Because in what I see us like, and this is what I'm just gonna keep chastising myself with all the rest of my life until I see it in
Yes, Lord.
every space, and because I know it's gonna be a forever thing, and the way that I know it's gonna be a forever thing, because as long as I'm living, it has to be a forever thing. Because as long as I'm on this earth, I'm always gonna have two selves.
Islam.
So, now going back to seven,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's the external thing, and this is why it just like it's so disheartening, because I'm just gonna say it. It's just like where most of our brothers are trapped at in most spaces in leadership. Choose any religion of your liking. If it's a religion that's dominated by men, most of them are caught on the external information, when the reality is what is being overlooked is the internal application of the information. And that's why the main message here is to research yourself. And yet again, here in chapter 7, going back to verse 20 and
Mm-hmm.
21 too, and Jesus said, "It is the rock on which man builds himself. It is the gnosis of the art and of the not, of falsehood and of truth." Falsehood and truth, those are the names of the two cells, if you had to give them names.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 21, it is the knowledge. This is what understanding is anchored to. It is the knowledge of the lower self and the sensing of the powers of man himself. If we stop focusing on just applying this word and repeating it and teaching it, and actually just focus on being doers of it.
Hmm.
And I'm not even, yes, we need to have our studies, but what I mean in doers of it, literally get the knowledge of your lower self, because that's why we are reacting that way, because we are not, like, this book is so such an alchemical book. And I know for some people may not be able, again, it's the different levels of understanding. It's not that one is higher or lower. It's just what your
Hmm.
mind is open to seeing. And
Islam.
so, because I've already been heavily studying into the sciences, when I look at this, I can see the alchemical processes that Noble Drew Ali is laying out. And what he is saying, that if you gain the knowledge of your lower self, then you will know when that side of you is about to step forth, and you can grasp that and stop that and control that. It's actually a thing that we can master. It's the knowledge of the lower self, the sensing of the powers of man himself. So he's
Mm.
telling us that that lower self is a power that we have to bring that under dominion of the higher self. And if we actually understood what that was and then start applying it, then we would be operating in the understanding that he is laying out for us. Like, it would be an easy thing. And it's not that we would be perfect again, and just, because the life is an alchemical process, just like the planets. They're an alchemical process. We're constantly colliding with different energies, higher
Islam.
vibrations, lower vibrations, people that are giving, people that are taking, people that comes to exchange, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, on all these different levels. So when we really get to understand the essence of that, then we will know thyself, and we will understand why it is important to apply these principles that he laying down here for us, because the world is not going to do it. So we have to be the one to operate in these powers and not consider it a insult when the world is coming at us, because we are the high scientists. We
Islam.
understand what, like, when I look at astrology because I understand that when Saturn and Mars, the great malefics, come into a conjunction in the eighth house,
Ooh,
it's probably gonna be a chaotic something going on that day. So why would I look at that information and then go out into the world and not understand why everybody acting crazy? Now it's fine.
ooh.
I can go out there blind like that, but then why have the tools? Why am
Come
I
on,
using the tools?
tools. Ooh,
That's the part that don't make sense, because I just looked at the recipe.
come
So
on.
that's like,
Ooh, got me over here. I'm like this. Girl, come
mm,
on. Come on with it. These are tools. As much as
mm-hmm,
people want to run from them, they're tools. Because you do have to notice your lower self. You have to know the lower self well. That's why when you say, what should I study? Yourself, you go back and ask again. Well, I study. What should I study now?
mm-hmm,
Yourselves. Because your lower self is strong. It holds you, man. That lower self is something else. It's something else.
whew,
But like you said, when
yes,
you notice it come up, you have the he gave you resolution. You have the
mm-hmm,
resolution to tame that thing. It's no different than I'm gonna go to this. Like the soul. You gotta put that love, you gotta put this thing to work. Employ it.
mm-hmm,
Employ it. You
yeah,
have to, because I'm gonna go to chapter the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 40. Holy instructions from the prophet in constancy. And in
mm,
those who gave thee a body furnished it with weakness, but he who gave thee a soul armed thee with resolution. Employ it, and thou art wise. Be wise, and thou art happy. So we got to put the soul to work, because if we don't, we're going to allow it to do what it do, and them desires of the flesh is going to take over, and
mm-hmm,
all that rises up. Islam.
yes, yeah, and it's gonna rise up, and it's really, like, we got taught. This is was one of the things I feel like old school religion did to us, is it taught us how to behave right, and it didn't tell us how to conquer that lower self, how to
Mm.
face
That's
the lower
right.
desires. Why Noble Drew Ali is telling us to face it and deal with it. In my brain balancing program that I used to operate, I used to tell people to do the why journey and keep asking yourself why, and don't stop. Like, really keep asking yourself why until you cry. Like, because I guarantee you at the end of that why, it's some tears there, it's a pain, it's a hurt little girl there, it's a hurt little boy there. It's something that ain't got nothing to do with why we react in this way, that's sitting inside of us. And
Mhm.
then even if you don't find the memory as to why, now you got to go to the esoteric reason why. Like, because some stuff is just going on in this world because of the madness of just what's done culminated in this world so far. But then you got to get worried about it. Like, why am I having these thoughts? Like, because these ain't my thoughts all the time. So what's influencing me to move this way? Or I woke up and it was a good day. Now all of a sudden I'm pissed off. Like, what just really transitioned to make me behave this way? It happened at work the other day. I was having a completely good day, and then here's a elder woman that was acting crazy. She was. I mean, she was vexing
Uh-huh.
everybody out. But I
Uh-huh.
started out, um, having my little bubble up. Like, I know she's having some sort of an episode, so I'm not gonna be bothered by it. And then as soon as she reflected it towards me one too many times, now I'm bothered. And no, I didn't necessarily act it out, but I didn't
Uh-huh.
like that I felt it inside. So now I'm later on that day, I'm like, damn, you really let that change your temperament? Like, why'd you do that? And so, like, that's what I call the why journey. Like, really find out why we doing it, and then that's when you can realize the error in it. Like, I swear,
Islam.
even the most
Islam.
darkest stuff, some people may think like it only exists in you because you won't face it and go ahead
Ooh.
and defeat it, and versus just trying to hide it away or feed it. We either feed it or pretend like it's not there. Versus, no,
Mhm.
get in your head and find out why you having these absurd thoughts or these distorted thoughts, and deal with it.
Man, you know what? And that's so true because even when going back, because I have a sister that does my readings, a younger
Mm-hmm,
sister. I say she's a shaman because she's like
mm-hmm,
22. She's so powerful. And I
mm-hmm,
remember the day she told me, she said, "You got to go back and heal that little girl. You got to go back and forgive her." And I'm like, "What?" Girl just started crying. Every tears just coming out. But
mm-hmm,
as I started going back to forgive that little girl, I started really seeing why certain things impacted my life because I didn't let go. I didn't forgive for certain things.
mm-hmm,
Well, never knew what that was. Let me say that. So as I started doing that shadow work, mirror work, things like that, things would just come up, and I'd be like,
mm-hmm,
"Dang, I forgot about that." But in actuality, I didn't forget about it. So it was things that I needed to deal with that I knew. Then I started really realizing that these are the things that were attracting certain relationships, certain energy my way.
mm-hmm,
I was holding on to this pain that I did not want to let go. Well, didn't know it was there. Let me say it was hidden. And I think it was all because going into the hair industry as a hairstylist, I'm listening to everybody else. So I'm taking in everyone else. So I'm not dealing with me.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
so, through that, I guess that's where I found my comfort through my clients, just listening to them and helping them through their stuff, but never focusing on what is really going on inside of me. So when I finally did, that's what, like I always say, it's when I came into the Moorish Holy Temple of Science
mm-hmm,
and started getting these lessons and really reading them daily to really see what that was and how to go back and talk to that little person inside of me that was holding on to all this pain, whether it was abandonment, regardless of what it is. Like, you got to go back and have this, and people, they might look at you a little weird. Well, why are you doing that? You talking to yourself, things like that. But
yeah,
no, it really helped me. Like, this was a
yeah,
tool that really helped. So when you speak of those tools, when you're speaking of like the cosmos and all of that, I've been that way even from a child, even though in, what do you call it, organized religion. Of course,
mm-hmm,
my mom Like, put that down. That's, she's speaking everything against it.
Oh yeah, we all got. Yes, yes, yes. I had those talkings too,
Right.
but they
And
didn't
every
understand. This is why Noble Drew Ali put this together, because in their generation they had been so washed out of the essence of our truth, and they really
Mhm.
thought this external stuff was really what it is. Like they really did a number on us, pulling us external. The Europeans, the colonizer, like they pulled us
Mhm.
out of ourselves to such a degree that if we can't see, feel, touch it, that type of understanding, then we don't seek to understand it. And that's
Ooh.
like where we just got to come up out of that. And I like how you say, and you constantly say too, it's about us all coming together because everybody has a piece of this healing, and we're so separate right now trying to figure it out, and we all got to come together like, what's your piece, what's your piece, what's your piece, and then put it together and raise our vibration instead of keep trying to preach and raise everybody else's vibration.
Vibration, Islam. Exactly. That's why I said for the few that can come together, it may not be a lot, but it don't take a lot. It does.
Mm,
It really doesn't take a whole lot. It
it
takes the
doesn't.
like minds coming together, and those like minds can raise the vibration above all this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why even the prophet, when he talks about those two roads that are, the two roads. There's a road at the bottom. If you have, I don't know if you have your literature, but in
Mm-hmm.
Kavet Imtor, it says Prophet Noble Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers walk, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour, and leaving crying out, Cavet emptor, cast out the dead carcasses. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exist, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks wait. Because they'll dig a hole for us. They'll be digging a hole. We're gonna dig because they don't know what they're doing. We're called fry, every true Moor that gets up to speak the truth, because the ones that dress up and make it look good now, we're wrong, and we're the fries, and we're all of this. You speak such against us. But I feel different. I feel you're just digging a hole that you're gonna jump in yourself. So while you digging one for me, dig one for yourself so you can jump right in it. So this is where we get that from too, Sister Shonda. There
Mm-hmm.
are true Moors out here. There are true Moors. Some of them don't even have on a interpret or a fez.
Mm.
And they're
Wow.
more true to this science than people that walk around with one on and the Holy Quran in their hand and know the literature and know every chapter. You can find, I can go out into the world and see more people moving on what Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought
Mm-hmm.
without even knowing Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Right.
They
And
just
that's
show up that way.
and it's beautiful that we have people like that, and we need to get that's the people we need to connect with, because this is like is getting we're doing too much talking, and we need to connect with the people who are actually doing, because like you said, we should know what you are by what you do, not by what you say or what you read, or how much of the literature you have, or the history. All that stuff is important. Yes, the history is important. And then it's even questionable though the way that it's being dispensed, because you're not dispensing it in a controlled environment. Now it's being dispensed all over the internet, where now it's just a whole bunch of debate of combative information being dispensed. It's not being dispensed in a temple of people who are already of like minds, like hearts, like lifestyles. Um, so like the internet is such a danger. It's a beautiful place because it allows us to do this too, but it also
Mm-hmm.
like what this text just said, it's two roads. There's one road that leads to what is right, and it's one road that looks like it's right, but it's not. It's leading
Yeah.
to chaos to say the least. But yeah, the what Noble Drew Ali was teaching to me is a condition of the heart. It's anime, and yes, we need to claim our nationality. All that is facts. But the real core truth here is we talking about the condition of your heart,
Mm-hmm.
condition, and how we operate and how fun and going back even to the utility of understanding too. I had looked up the word utility, even
Mm-hmm.
though of course we know what it means, but we like to look stuff
No,
up.
we
So
like to look it up though, because you're right. Because I'm one. I could say, "Oh yeah, I know what that means," and go to it, be like, "Oh no, that is not what that meant."
mhm.
Utility.
Okay, read a few definitions for it. As a noun, a state of being useful,
Mm-hmm.
profitable, or beneficial. Also, as a noun, it can be an organization supplying the community with electricity, gas, water, or sewage. As an adjective, it's to be useful, especially through being able to perform several functions. Functional rather than attractive was the one I wanted to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Functional rather than attractive,
Mm-hmm.
because the external stuff we do, and it doesn't really make us look all that attractive the way we think so. Of course, it's beautiful for us, but the world don't see it. The world don't care about our outfits.
No.
They don't care about the stuff that we say that we are. They're looking at how we behave and what we do and how we represent this great truth that we say we are walking in. And so that utility of understanding, it was a specific line in there that used the word utility. That's why I looked it up and I'm like, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
what does utility mean in levels of understanding? And um, when I looked up the definition, it's just for me, it's like, okay, again, when love and understanding go together. So to say that I am love is one thing, but to actually be love is what's functional. That is what's going to be functional. Another scripture, one of my favorite scriptures from the Christian Bible that I quote all the time, and I probably said this last week, but everything is beneficial, but not everything is permissible. Everything is beneficial, but I will not be mastered by anything. That's the prophets giving us that same esoteric truth that the great prophet Noble Drew Ali just put before us. That same do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because everything is permissible. I can behave however I want. Free will allows me to do that. But is it really beneficial, not only to myself, but to the collective? And everything is permissible, but I will not be mastered by anything, because the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing that is going on is we have the anima and the animus, or some you can say the solar plexus and the third eye, or the crown chakra, the upper centers. Every time we are stepping into our lower selves and being comfortable there or justifying it, we are allowing the animal nature in us to take the seat of God, is what we're saying. You know, we're teaching
Ooh, say that again. Wait, I need you to say that again. Say that one more time, because whoa, that hit. I think that hit me in the gut. I was like, oh yes,
Oh
go for it.
goodnesses. And so the another way of looking at the higher and lower selves is we have what is called the anima and the animus. The anima is the solar plexus or the gut or linked to the heart too.
Okay.
And then the animus is the third eye and the crown chakra, the higher and lower centers. And so every time we decide to get comfortable in that negative energy or justify by any means, we are allowing the animal nature to rise up and take the seat on the throne of God, that third eye space, that energy,
Mm-hmm.
literally, that rest in your animal instinct is a
Mm-hmm.
real thing. Like this science to this is a real thing, and all the texts say the same thing. That's why I love the United Sisters of Asia Auxiliary, because yes, I am claiming my nationality as a Moorish American in the process of learning this because it's important for my journey. But ultimately, all these texts are telling us the same thing. They're
Same
the
thing.
underlying message if we decode it the right way. I think the difference, in my humble opinion, and this is my opinion,
Mhm.
in the text that Noble Prophet Noble Drew Ali gave us in comparison to other texts that I read, and they're all great. And believe me, I've studied
Uh-huh.
intently a few of them, especially the main ones. But Noble Drew Ali, to me, he simplified it. That's why the book is only 65 pages. I mean, it's into 65 pages, if I'm right. It's a very
Well,
short.
well, mine, I know yours is mine is 89
Okay,
pages.
89. I might have quoted it wrong,
Yeah,
but I
no,
mean,
it's fine.
in comparison
But
to the
still,
Bhagavad Gita, the Christian Bible, and all, and it's not that these
yeah.
books aren't great, but it just simplifies the simple truth of that alchemical process that they're trying to get us to understand. And here's the thing: the alchemical process is a big thing for a person to learn, for or to even try to teach a person. And that's why they have mystic schools for people who are adept to learning that. But for people who aren't adept to learning that stuff, it's simplified in these texts to tell you if you do what is good, good will come back to you. That Allah reigns on the just and the unjust, the good and the evil, loves the good and evil, and we are commanded to do the same thing. And that process that I was talking about with the higher and lower selves, like, there is a heart, a cavity that sits in the brain. It's literally a heart shaped cavity. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really where we get the heart shape from. If you notice, your organ heart is shaped more like a fist. It's not
It
shaped
is
like a heart. The
right.
heart shaped cavity is inside the skull, and it's like, to kind of simplify, like, it's called at the throne of God. And in that space, these energies take seat there. So
Uh-huh.
when you got the animus, which is the energy that should be sitting in the third eye and the crown chakra, that's Allah, that's the mind of God, or the creator. But then when we operate in that lower self, that literally mean that beast that dwells in our belly, that animal instinct that will do anything, the survival instinct, done rose up and took a seat in your brain, and you literally doing whatever you feel like is necessary to defend yourself or survive at that moment, and choosing not to be God.
Islam. So let me say this, not to cut your wisdom. The pinnacle, I always say that pinnacle mountain is the heart
Mhm.
where the devil tempts Jesus, where it's simply
Yes.
from your higher self. It sits right
Ooh.
in the physical heart. And
Yes.
when I
That's
when I
good.
really started thinking of that, because I was like, lower self, higher self, you go from the belly button down, all the gross stuff. Thinking, I was like, dang, that
Hmm.
heart is your pinnacle. That's that
Hmm.
mountain that you get tested upon all the time to really see,
Yes.
are you gonna operate in your lower self, or you
Hmm.
gonna stay up in your higher self and operate? Um, and like you said, I was telling somebody, I was telling a person, I don't know, if it was my best friend. Yeah, we were talking about who's in the office, right? And she was
Mm.
like, I'm just ready for this to be over. I said, well, what about when you go to heaven? What if he's sitting next to you in heaven and his seat got to be right next to you? What you gonna say?
I'm
Because you can't
leaving.
such that, man. What you gonna say? I don't want to be here no more. Hey, that was
Right.
on you. You decided you didn't want to be there because you are holding your heart is not even as light as a feather to
Hmm.
hold any kind of love for the next person, because we're constantly, like you said, it's always this functional outer part that we're so attracted to.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
love that outer part. We're so attracted to that's what gets us. We don't dig any deeper to find the understanding. We're not even digging into the understanding of what's really going on. We're just looking at it from this surface level point, like, because this is what it is. But what if that same person that you dislike is sitting next to you in heaven? Because I have to tell myself that about some people I know I don't care too much for, but I'm like, you know what, Allah, they deserve to be there too.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying?
it's gonna be straight up like that. It is. It's dressed up. It's like that because, well, you don't get to choose that. We don't really
Yeah.
get to choose that. Mm-mm.
So you got, so when you say to love your enemies, no different. Like he says, you gotta love the stranger in the fold that seeks to do you harm, stranger at the gate. You gotta love them too.
Yeah, and I think we think Like, and that's why sometimes looking up some of these words is important, because I think our brain, and I could be wrong, because some people could just be just flat out mean and just want to be contrite and evil. But I think our brains automatically put us in a defense mode where we feel like disagreement has to lead to combat,
Yeah.
or differences has to be equals opposition. Like, it doesn't, like, I have people in my family who live lifestyles that, for my personal convictions, for whatever reason, I'm not in agreement with, but I only have government over my house. I can't, and I don't have to government over their house. And I'm still kind to them. I still smile with them. We still have a good time in the middle ground. But you're not going to bring what I don't believe in inside of my house, and I'm not going to bring what I believe in and try to impose it upon you in your house. But we don't have to fight about it. Like, and a lot of times those differences, it ain't even know, a lot of times, here's another esoteric truth, it has to be there. Like, the world no longer exists without duality and polarity. So these things that we hate, this world, it wouldn't be here without hot and cold water, without up and down, white and black, female and male. So these very things that we oppose and are, is just the duality of nature. And the if you want to just call it a cosmic joke, yeah, the creator made everything vastly different and said, deal with it and love it. Like,
Mm,
learn to love it, learn to
right.
navigate around it, learn to make it useful um to you.
Islam. Islam. I want to point this out because it's something we just spoke on from back in Luke. Woo, this Luke is talking today, boy. Luke is saying something. Luke
Come on, Luke.
6:30, 6 verse 36, 37. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. 38. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall man give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again.
Mm-mm-mm. And that's it right there. Like, so, and we're not perfect.
Mm,
So,
far from it. But we're working toward that. We're working toward perfection. We're working. We can work toward it. We can work toward it because he came and
yes,
said, came to show you the possibilities,
yes, yes,
not
yes.
impossibilities. We focus on the impossibilities, so I think that's what keeps us in um in the state of mind that we're in, because we're always thinking of what's impossible and never thinking about what's the possibilities. All prophets brought us the possibilities of man, not
Hmm.
possibilities. So you're right. We have to learn. Still got to learn to love, man. We're still learning how to love.
Hmm. Yes, this is like, yeah, Luke was, he was cutting up today, because I just went even further down, and this is leadership, because we are leaders in the earth. Like, we are the creators of
Islam.
everything made manifest physically. That all this stuff we use, and this came from the womb of us, the melanated people, Moorish Americans, who we are here. The so that's a position of leadership. Our command call or is to raise the vibration of humanity.
Mm,
And Luke says here in 39, he also told them this parable. Can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into a pit?
mm,
The student is not above the teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like their teacher. So we are supposed to be trained by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali through this text and these the literature that he gave us. So we should be operating like him by now. Why do 41? Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How
mm.
can you say, brother, let me take the speck out of your eye when you yourself fail to see the plank in your own eye? Take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly. You will see clearly how to remove the speck from your brother's eye. And the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that is in leaving footprints, leaving
Wow.
your footprints in the way that we're going.
Clearly cut, because a block of wood can point the way.
Mm-hmm.
People point the way, they never went that way. They go that way, and they ain't went that way. That's just a block of wood pointing the way. And you're
Mm-hmm.
right. You're right. Um, mm, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, Luke is really speaking right here. And it's really in this, because when it's in red, wait, when it's in the red, what does that mean again? My mom,
Usually that's supposed to mean it's Jesus speaking in
Jesus
the red.
speaking. Islam. I didn't want to say that wrong. Oh, and it's reading this, I can this see, this is why it's good. He said, "Don't throw away your Bibles." The prophet did say that. Don't throw away
Mm-hmm.
your Bibles, because even as I'm still in this text, I can see so much of what's in our Holy Quran. I can
Mm-hmm.
see it. I'm just gonna go a little bit. Oh my goodness. Oh, you got me. Oh goodness. All right, 43. For a good tree bringeth not forth corrupt fruit, neither doth a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. For every tree is known by its own fruit. For of thorns men do not gather figs, nor of a bramble bush gather they grapes. A good man out of the good treasures of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasures of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. So,
Mm-hmm.
what does, wait, I got to go back to the unity.
Mm-hmm. Let's
Let's go,
get back right back there.
let's go back to that unity. Ooh, where are we at? Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong one. 2026. I think I was thinking of something else too, but
Yeah, that was 22.
where am I seeing this? Hold up. Well, even the treasures. I even want to go back to that one, to verse 1, to pull this out. The gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah, right? But
Mm.
it's still talking about these treasures to the evil
Right.
and to the good.
Mm-hmm.
These understandings.
Evil and good. I'm still okay. Here we go.
But it's still
Yeah.
that understanding and the treasures of the heart. Is that what I'm looking for at? The treasures of the heart, which bring forth good, because you can have an evil heart and bring forth evil.
Yes. Yes. And that's that lower higher self, that falsehood truth.
Islam.
Um. Yeah. And it's there. It's there. That's that conversation up at the pinnacle of the mountain. Yeah. Every time. And until we master that, which is possible, like I said, that's what the prophet is telling us. It's possible to master this thing where, like it says, Jesus, after that, uh, he conquered that, and then, or the Bible will say, and then Satan fled from him and went away, and went on about his way to carry on his mission. But he had to go in the wilderness and face that thing.
Ooh, had to go face it. Had to go face the wilderness. Can we go to that chapter one time? Because you mentioned the wilderness. What
You
is it?
mean
This chapter in the
in
in the Holy Quran. Let me see. Oh
okay,
yeah, because yours is
that's,
not. Hold on. Uh,
hold on, that's early.
where is that
No,
chapter?
I mean,
What did I just say?
damn, I've been reading too much on
Where is the wilderness?
my one
Lives as a hermit. We going
Jesus.
to there
Okay.
it is. Chapter 15.
Okay.
Where does he say that? He goes into okay. I'll start at 5.
Mm-hmm.
When I shall stand before the face of men and they demand a proof of my messiahship, what will I say? And then the tempter came and said, if you be the son of Allah, command these stones to turn to bread. And Jesus said, "Who is it that demands a test? It is no sign that one is the son of Allah because he does a miracle. The devils can do mighty things. Did not the Gentile magicians do great things before the Pharaoh? My words and deeds in all the walks of life shall be proof of my messiahship." Then the tempter said, "If you will go into Jerusalem and from the temple pinnacle cast down yourself to earth, the people will believe you are the Messiah sent from Allah." I'm gonna stop right there because in this one I gave the tempter, of course, the lower self. In Jerusalem, I gave mind. Said that was a mind state.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And so that temple pinnacle, that heart again, told him cast down from there. Show these
Mm.
people the Messiah from Allah.
Ooh, oh my goodness.
This you can surely do. For did not David say he gives his angels charge concerning you? And with your hands will they uphold, lest you shall fall? And Jesus said, "I will not tempt the Lord my God Allah." Then the tempter said, "Look forth upon the world. Behold its honors and its fame. Behold its pleasures and its wealth. If you will give your life to these, they shall be yours." But Jesus said, "Away from me, all tempting thoughts. My heart is fixed. I spurn this carnal self with all its vain ambition and its pride." For 40 days did Jesus wrestle with his carnal self. His higher self prevailed. He then was hungry, but his friends found him and they ministered to him. Then Jesus left the wilderness, and in the consciousness of holy breath, he came into the camps of John and Titus.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So I was going to that because him being in the wilderness, this wilderness that we go through,
Mm-hmm.
we all go through the wilderness in our mind. It's in our
Yes.
mind where this wilderness takes place. Most
And I
people think
like
it's
how
a
you point
physical. Go
that
ahead,
out.
my apologies.
No, I'm looking back up at that too. I like how you pointed that out, that pinnacle, that top, that Jerusalem, that's that higher self. And he literally asked him, like, just go ahead and come down from here and make them know who you are. Like,
But what is that proving? Because that's what we even see some of our people do. They come down,
yeah.
"Ooh, look who I am. This is who
Mm-hmm.
I am. Look how I dress. Look how I speak. Look what I got on."
Mm-hmm.
There we go with the functional. Like you said, this outer appearance. We're so attractive to this outer part of function.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about, where does this come from? Just a brief thought on that. And because we weren't always like this. And then the thing that came to mind, I remember that old ignorant statement I've heard, if you want to hide something from a black man, hide it in a book. And then I'm thinking about how we went through some generations of slavery and them calling us stupid and all this stuff. And it's like we keep going through these cycles of trying to prove our intellect to people that already know we really are that. They ain't confused about who we are. We are. And it's like, I don't even think that if you want to have something from a black man hide it in the book, that was never a real thing. That was something somebody made up just to create a stereotype that we are stupid. Because let's face it, our men have always been intelligent in them books.
Oh,
Oh,
come on.
there was never a time that they weren't. Like, our history tells us different than that statement. But was like, they done tricked us into being trapped into proving ourselves to them. And we got to come out of that space because they are the external beings. We're the balance of the duality, the internal and external. We're that perfect balance. But
Go ahead. No, continue.
no, just go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm like, yes, we are. Yes. Oh my goodness. That's beautiful. Yes. And we should. So when you're saying that, and when I think about, there was a time when it was great here. The time when it was great when we weren't integrated. Our schools were doing great. Our children were. I mean, you could go back and look at Asiatic children were above and beyond. That's why they wanted to bring them into the schools with us, integrate, because we were 10 times more smarter than them in everything.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear people say, "Well, when was it ever great?" It has been great.
It definitely
You
has.
know who Ruby Bridges is? It has been great. That sister still walked up in the school. What do you mean? It has been great. We show our greatness. Maybe you just don't recognize it.
Mm-mm.
But it has been great. It's been great many times.
Mm-hmm.
When we ruled here, it was great.
And now they've created a school system, like you said, integration and separation is not about hate, but it was about protecting our culture, protecting what we had built. And now they have created a school system to create robots. And if you get out of the programming, then you're chastised, and that creates a whole nother monster. Like you're psychologically programmed into going their way or being a problem, a statistical problem. Um, and so, yeah, it definitely has been great. It definitely has been great. But that's why it's like some of the shifts that are happening in America now, they're bothering people. And I get it. And nor am I, I'm not a mother of small children. So it is easy for me to say this. But when a country is shifting to where homeschooling is becoming more popular now, like I give praise for that. Because we need now what we need to do is get organized so that every mother isn't having to take on that burden by
That
herself.
responsibility is long.
Like who's great at math, who's great at art, who's great, like build our own network, get a center that we all meet in Monday through Thursday and educate our own children again. I can understand how to a mom it's frustrating waking up trying to do school with three different kids, three different ages. But if we came together and helped each other, then there we go. We back educating our children again. They might still try to force us by their government statutes to implement um many of their educational standards, but when I'm at home and I'm the guide on how you interpret and understand that information, like I see people panicking because they're trying to implement even adding the Bible back in school. I get it, but it's really a thing about morality than religion when they're
Exactly.
doing that. But also we have the understanding now to be able to educate our children about what that book is really, the history of that book. I'm not going to let, okay, you're going to teach it, bring it into the schools, and I'm going to just submit to that. When my child comes home, now we got to further discuss whatever type thing you think you got going on in the school with this book to make sure my child understands what's going on and not to be indoctrinated by it.
Exactly. So true. So true. Exactly. Because I have been a person to homeschool my children. They're all adults, as you know. They're adults. So I was like this a long time ago because I never wanted them to be indoctrinated so much with the psychology of what's out there.
Right.
So now when I see stuff going on, even when the vid happened in 2020, and I'm watching parents do all that, to be honest, I was like, but this is something y'all should have already been doing when these children come home from school.
Amen.
Y'all should have
Amen.
been more involved in what's going on so you wouldn't be so scatterbrained. Well, I don't know how to do, and I don't. Nah, it shouldn't even be that stressful. Honestly, if you take the time with your children, you can find out it really ain't that hard. I did it with 4 boys. And a
It's
lot of
not,
times
and that
I was
was.
on my own. What'd you say? Excuse me.
I said that was something to witness. Go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
Man, yeah. So in doing so, I still felt like I kept control of what they were still learning. Even when I moved back home to Colorado and my sons were going to, and when I say Cherry Creek schools, you could probably still look them up today. I don't know if they still sit, but they was like top 5 in the nation of education as I was growing up, and even when I moved them back, right? So I take them back. And his history teacher would be like, he's in his history class. Because I tell my children, when you go to school, ask questions. You question everything. Don't let them just tell you stuff. Because then you're letting them indoctrinate your mind on how to think. Start asking questions. My son, he's in, I forget, American history, something. He's like in the 11th grade. And his teacher just going. He's like, well, you can't tell us what happened before 1492. And the teacher goes, Jada, after class, can we have a conversation? So after class, he's like, how do you know all this stuff? He's like,
right.
oh, my mom teaches me. So my son Jaden he's very well spoken. You can't tell he grew up in Atlanta. You can tell my other 3 is Atlanta all day. Like they love it. That way you swear he grew up in Harvard. You're just like, oh, he's so intellectually spoken. And so he's like, yeah, my mommy teaches it to me. I mean, I just want to know because you're teaching us stuff that we were already here. You started to teach us stuff. You're not teaching us anything before Columbus came.
And that's an injustice.
Yes, girl.
Let
Well,
me tell you, Kanye West. Did you hear Kanye West say he think it's an injustice that they teach history in school? Period.
yeah,
And people called him nuts for that. But and I get it because y'all hear him with the wrong ears. Y'all
yeah,
hear him with the wrong ears. Because when my daughter is the one brought it to me, when she first said it, I too was like, what? And then she's a very deep thinker, and then she got to expounding on it. And I'm like, no, he's right. Like the way that they teach our history is literally another degree of programming us to only see our history. And then this is again the biochemistry of the body. The brain operates. The brain is not us. The brain is a piece of equipment. All it does is record data and regurgitate it. That's all the brain it basically does. And so when you teaching this false history, it's like you getting us trapped in that lower vibration and not understanding that what we used to be rulers, what we used to be, we established the government of America. What like what we were rulers up in Europe too. Like we need to hear that history first. Tell us
Islam.
that first, and then build up to 1492 and tell us what that happened. Then our children will ask the right questions, like, "Now, what happened then? Why did that happen, Mom?"
Islam. Islam. So even with schools, they say they're changing, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're CRT and all this. To me, when they start doing these things, that's just more game for you to get up off your lazy behind and start
Mm-hmm.
doing what you need to do for your children. Because your
Yes.
children should be way more important than the things that you put more importance into. That's the way I look at it. If I was the type of person to choose a career to be at home, hey, I chose that. I chose to be a hairstylist from a very young age, but I also knew I didn't want my children going home by themselves. I
Right.
didn't want them being latchkey kids. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want that. I lived that life and I didn't like it. So I wasn't going to allow them to live that life. So what do I need to do as a parent to be more involved? I guess that means sit at home. And I had one that got into fights every day. They called me every day. So believe me, I had the experience through 4 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, fight every day, and they calling me. Well, Miss Mays, and I would have to tell them men sometimes, okay, it's 4 of y'all in the office with 3 boys. Why are you calling me? Y'all can't handle that. Y'all supposed to be men. Y'all supposed to be teaching them conflict resolution, not me
Right.
on the phone. I'm gonna get upset and be yelling, talking about when you get home.
Exactly.
Handle it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think that even with all this stuff that's coming out, they're pulling this, they're pulling that. Well, how about why don't you at home start teaching your children the history? If they're taking certain history out, we'll implement more science because there's a way to get a charter school. You can get these micro schools. It's no more excuses. It's so many online platforms. There's
Yes.
ABC Mouse. I used to go from ABC Mouse all the way up, printing off my children's stuff before they even had platforms for homeschool. I would just go and print it off or buy me a printer and print their stuff off. And they have a package every week. Come on, you're going to do this package this week. So math, science, when we go to the grocery store, you're doing math. You're doing when we're cooking, we're doing science, we're doing math, we're doing all kinds of stuff when we're cooking, from
And
measurements. You know,
yes, and do we understand we could force them to change the whole structure of their programming just by educating our kids? What could they teach our kids if they already sitting in there teaching them? Like
right.
your son questioned, like, do you know what happened between 1492? Because I do, because it seemed like that's all you talk about. So I
Yeah.
just want to make sure you read the history before this date. And because
Before.
that's basically what he said in an intelligent way, like, and we got to get our kids there.
Yes.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
It has to be more important to you because I look at it from every aspect of every culture. Growing up in Colorado, I grew up around all types of people. So, from the Vietnamese to Cambodians to Hindu Indians to you name it, I went to school with them. But when they went home, what did they learn after they left their indoctrinated school? They
Mm-hmm.
went home to learn about themselves. Their
Mm-hmm.
mom was cooking their cultural food. They were
Mm-hmm.
speaking cultural language to one another. They're still in control of their children's minds. Our people lazy and don't want control of it. They want to be able to send them to school for them 8, 10 hours. and
Most of the
allow
day.
him to be the babysitter, because that's really what the teacher is being, is your child's babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
Then come home and you're not even even interacting with your children.
At all.
Like mine get in the car, I'm like, how was your day? I mean, I got one, don't speak. He like, good. That's it. That's all you gonna get out of him. Good.
Mm-hmm.
He is done with it.
And that's fine, but at least you gotta ask though. You
But you
gotta
gotta
ask.
ask. You need to be involved. It needs to be something that you ask, even if they don't want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you're showing some kind of concern for your children. So I think a lot of times we want to put it off on them, but we can't. They can't be the babysitter to our children, y'all. We have to be way more involved in what we do. And even when teaching them at home, still teaching them at home and still instilling these principles in them. Like take a moment to have you a Quran class with your children, or
Yes.
a Bible class with your children, whatever that may look like to you. Take some time for them,
Yes.
because your day has been spent all on you, and you ain't took the time to say, come here, boo, let's read. I remember my mom would read me a story at night, even though she fall asleep. Every time she started reading, she didn't read because she's
Hey,
tired.
but it was that hey, she did it though. That was a ritualistic thing she did with you, and you knew that routine. And dinner time, we don't eat dinner as families anymore. And I understand the hustle and bustle, but I mean, even if we can't do it every night because people work and got different schedules, we can't just set aside one night a week. Like our families have left their post. The black man and the black woman, women, we are mothers. That's our first call to duty. Like that's what makes you goddess.
That's
Like literally, you have brought a life in through your portal, and then you are responsible for forming that mind. Like, so be at your post. You're gonna send your child out. That's why my son crazy. I mean, part of it probably had something to do with my parenting, but then he at school with 15 teachers with different belief systems. Then, you go in here with this group of friends, and then the internet came in our children's generation. So now you got access to anything you want right in your pocket. And if I don't give you a phone, your friend got one. So it's like we didn't give them and I'm saying I'm me and you, I mean collectively why
right.
these
No,
kids
you're right.
move the way they do, we didn't give them that morality that they needed. Even though you might have taught them what was right, what did you give them as the compass to
Oh,
know when I'm out of range? Like, because it got to be something greater than what mama say or daddy say, because we know we reject that. We reject that.
yes,
Like,
definitely. Definitely.
mhm,
You're so right about that. Yes. What moral compass did we give them? And even when we placed it in their hands, though, Sister Shonda, it's not like they took it. Like
mm-mm,
like I said, I'm not saying I was the perfect parent. Boy, I could have had some lessons in parenting, but I did my best to
yes, yes,
give as much love and attention to my children as possible. But like you said, when you're influenced by the world and your children are out there, because we share similar stories, so many mothers share these stories about
mm,
their sons being in these dismal crypts, and just you've done your best. It's not you, it wasn't you, but we know that it may be some. I'm like, it was some part of what I did that probably caused him to say, I want to be in the streets. I
yeah,
want to, well, and it,
mhm.
from my understanding, he doesn't necessarily say it was me. He says, well, I was just wanting to be like my dad. I just wanted to be like my dad. That's all. Even
And
though
and that's the thing too, because that's the other component to that. Because it's not just us. Our men left their post, and
yes,
I don't care whatever way you want to justify, because this thing goes secular. As much as the black man want to blame the black woman, I can boomerang throw it right back at you. So we not gonna do that though, because that's
yeah,
not beneficial, and it's not Allah telling us that ain't the way to be. Be fruitful. And what's
right.
being fruitful is recognizing that we out of order and the fruit that we have bear. And they are
Ooh,
screaming. They are screaming. Parents, you might, all of us did the best we could with what we had. That was some healing I had to go through with my parents. Like my parents made some decisions that were not conducive to the most healthiest environment. But what helped me heal past those things was, what, both of them loved me and they really did the best they could with what they had. And sometimes it might not have been what was the perfect for me. And none, it wasn't anything tragic I went through, but we grow up with these mommy and daddy wounds and then act that out in our lives. And then look at the fruit we have bear. This is a rebellious generation. They
yes,
rebel against every sense of order that is on this planet.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
Because
do.
they don't, the moral compass. And like you said, we give it to them now and they reject it. They don't want it. They'll read it. They really don't want, they ain't with that because they also are governed by their feelings. This is
Hmm.
a feeling generation. It's this information good until I feel something different.
Yes. Now, do you I feel like I do. I feel like we dropped the ball. My generation dropped the doggone ball.
Yes.
And this is why they're so
Hmm.
entitled.
Hmm.
What did you just say they were? So I just looked.
Um, Goodness. What did I say?
You just said a word, and boy, is that not the truth. But I look at when you said that word, I had to say, what did you say? You said something. Something you said, and I feel like it could have came from us. This could be some energy that came off of us onto
That
this.
them rebelling, maybe
Yeah,
rebelling
rebellious, the
forward.
rebellion.
It is.
Because we can be rebellious. Can't we've been rebellious in our time.
Mm-hmm.
We're rebellious, girl. I have
Yes.
been rebellious.
Yes.
But
I feel like
become
we did. And I think we were like really kind of one of the first generations that really had the ability to even fully rebel. Because if you go back, the strictness of what they were subjected to, because I mean, just it wasn't that long ago, slavery was still a thing.
yes.
So we talking about that type of strict generate discipline from slave masters just 4 generations ago, depending on what you call a generation.
Mm-hmm.
So what, like my grandfather was born in 1913. So you're talking about before that, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
slavery. So then you got my grandfather's generation, they breaking out into a perceived state of freedom, but they're still very domesticated by the disciplines they inherited from being slaves. And then they have their children. Now their children have the freedom to go to church or to not to go, to drink or to smoke, to party, to express themselves. And but people still kind of had it together then a little bit. We still dressed with morality,
Yeah.
behaved a certain way, went to church, and then it's like our parents' generation, they this is just my analysis of it. They kind of blurred the lines of good and bad. You know, like it was like we're still good people, but we do this too. And then so now you get to our generation where it's like now we want to be grown before we're really grown. And it
Ooh.
just accelerated as because
Ooh.
I you know my son was trying to be grown since he been about 12. And it's like, why are you doing this?
Yes. Yes. But then sit back and think about me, even when I'm looking at young girls, I'm like, ooh, how I was at that age. Like, I can only imagine what they got more
Mhm.
access to stuff than what I could ever imagine having access to.
Yes. And we were more still, even then, collective. Still, we weren't like we should be, but we were still more collective where you and I couldn't get away with the amount of things these kids freely get away with. We had to sneak around everybody to be bad. These kids don't really have to sneak because, yeah,
They gonna do it. There's a brother on TikTok. He said, "No talk back to my mama. My head would be split."
period.
For real, there was just certain things you didn't do. Now, who to hear the way, even our children, the Asiatic children, the way they talk to
Mhm.
their parents, I was never would have thought in a million years that that would be that way. Because I was so scared of my mom. I was like, man, she gonna hit me in my mouth, and that backhand to your lips, and then it
Mhm.
started burning, and you be like, dang, and it don't stop burning. You be like,
Yeah. And then you might have a swollen mouth and got to
right.
explain to your friends.
After she went back, what you say? You like, "Hmm." Now parents are afraid of their children. They're afraid to
Mhm.
say anything to them. I
Mhm.
tell mine still to this day, who you talking to? Because I know I'm only 5 foot and you might be up there, but bro, I'm gonna jump up and hit you in the throat. Like
Period.
we still gonna stay respectful on this thing, right? So
Mhm.
because I'm scared of my mom. I'm still afraid of my mother. No lie.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't cross her if I tried. I'm terrified she gonna pick something up and throw it at me, like literally. Boot upside my head. Yep, a boot upside my head, literally, like our parents did.
Mhm. Literally.
They didn't play, so
And it wasn't nobody to call either. There wasn't no children's services, nothing like that.
nah.
You mess
And you
around, get
might be,
another whooping calling somebody.
yeah, you, yeah. If you got, yeah, call somebody if you want to. The person coming gonna whoop you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are all a part of the gifts of understanding, though. This is all a part of what we were talking about today. This understanding that we've gotten away from, and we need to come back into it. I love the
Yeah.
way you brought the cosmos in, the way you talked about the tools that we can use, and we've always been turned away from them, but we need to go back to that. Even in school, that's why they have Harry Potter.
Yes.
You don't even realize that. But really, I mean, when you think of the way schooling really was, I used to have this book I gave away, and it broke down the way that school went down to where once you got to the university, that was all about the universe. The
Mm-hmm.
elementary meant elements. You
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
like, it was just like this book gave this whole, and I was like, wow, just
Mm-hmm.
imagine if we learned like this. The
Teaching
magic
us the
would be gone.
real, yeah, the subjects would be a lot more interesting if you're, because when you teaching it that way, now that's application. But when you want to put me in a class and try to force me to learn algebra and my mind can't conceptualize where I'm gonna ever use this at in life, like that makes kids disinterested.
Islam, definitely it does. It definitely does. Oh, Sister
But
Shonda.
see, these are the things we can implement at home to turn our children back into science. Like right now, they tricked us into, and I know we have a lot of people in great spaces, but the popular thought is that we're all entertainers now,
Mm-hmm.
and we are still chemists. We are still the master scientists, the master mathematicians, the master builders. We are still all of this.
Islam. We are the master builders, and we are our forefathers and foremothers without a doubt or contradiction. We are them.
Hmm.
So we done been here many times. We gotta come back and do this work for real now. Now it's what is did you tell me this the other day, or did someone else tell me this? Did they say that this experience is like a part of the last test or the last rim to be tested on before you ascend? Somebody was just telling me.
Oh, no, you know what? I don't remember us talking about that subject, but I definitely get what that is. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Mhm.
This has been this has been amazing, Bill. The brother over on TikTok said, "When Daddy get home, you get it twice.
Hey, for real. For real.
You get it twice as bad." Yeah, that's so true. Everybody's whooping you. So yes, Sister Shonda, this has been amazing. I love this build. I've learned so much today
Yes, thank you,
from
sis.
you. I am going to go look up some of these words. The animus,
Mm-hmm.
um,
And anima,
and
anima, and anima.
anima, and anima. I was
Hmm.
about to say anime.
Hey, that might be a wordplay though, because you know
Yeah,
how they are now. I might
yeah.
need to look and see what those, because I know they do I don't. I'm not that. I'm not into it. People try to tell me that people actually keep suggesting I'll like it because it's about elements and stuff like that. But I don't know. But they was like, you just got to find one that you like, and so it's probably relative. Mm-mm-mm.
I'm gonna have, you know what, I'll have my oldest son is a anime fanatic. Like
Is it?
he's watched them from Pokemon cards, you name it, Dragon Ball Z, you name it, right? He
Mm.
is anime. He knows how to draw anime and everything. He's really
Oh,
dope. But when I sit and watch anime with him,
mm-hmm.
I swear it is coming up out of here all day long.
All day
I'd be
long.
like, whoa, wait a minute. Like it is, oh wow. They knew what they were doing. That's all I can say. The
Mm-hmm.
Japanese, they know what they're doing with that thing. But it's very spiritual, Sister Shonda. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Super good work, sisters. Islam. Our brother over
Islam.
on TikTok says super good work. We'll see you next Sunday, next Friday also. So, Sister
Islam.
Shonda, this has been amazing. I got to get ready for the Taste of Africa, which is going to
Yes,
be at
enjoy
6
that.
o'clock. I will make sure that I do some footage behind the scenes so y'all can see what takes place today with the so it's food and lecture, and it's about bringing the taste and bringing us back together in unison. We got to bring back in an organized way, because separation, the prophet, we ain't supposed to be separated in the way we are with all
Mm-mm.
these different sectors, and we're so separated, we're not one, and it's only one. It's only one.
Mm-hmm. So
We
we
have
are.
to remember that. So, yes, I will let you guys see what's going on at the Taste of Africa today. It has been such a pleasure with you, Sister Shonda.
Yes,
We're
sister.
going to
Thank you.
close
I
this
enjoyed
in.
every moment. Thank you for sharing.
Yes,
And let me
and
one quick question: Is this event annual or is this just a one-time thing as of now?
it's gonna be more. This is his first one.
Okay.
So because this is the first one, he wants to keep it going. He wants it a continuous
Okay.
one.
Then
I'm
well, we'll
gonna
be looking
say every
forward.
few months.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, sister. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful
Welcome.
day.
Stay on for me for just a minute so I can
Yes,
get
sister.
your recording. Islam, all meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we all stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We're going to turn to the east as going within. We put up 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right, with our heels touching one another, standing on our square. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe,
Father in the universe,
the Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my God,
and my salvation.
and my salvation,
By night
my night
and by day,
and my day.
through his holy prophet,
Through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
true Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam. I'm going to read these words from the prophet because it's supposed to be read at every meeting, but it's important that we know what this is, even for you, Sister Shonda,
Okay.
because he has given us specific orders. So I'm going to read this before we cut the live. The divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work and in their homes or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. I want to stop real quick so I can say something about the stop flashing your cards.
Okay.
These nationality cards are they are for you, for your salvation. But I'm gonna be honest, y'all better get one because as soon as the mass deportation happens, they might ask you for it. So that's when you might need to flash it. Islam, failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. And I'm not saying that to be radical. I'm just putting you on notice. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By the order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Islam, Islam.
Islam.
So now we will end the live, and I'm going to see you backstage.
Okay.
While this thing finishes.
Yes, Islam, sis. I love
And
that.
it, and then hold on.